Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Faskivan here with another Diablo Immortal video. Make sure to subscribe for future content and hit the bell icon as well to get notified whenever a new video drops. So today's topic is gonna be the Cycle of Strife, which is basically the main conflict of Diablo Immortal between the two factions, the Shadows and the Immortals, with the Shadows basically trying to overthrow the current Immortals to take their place. We expect the global to start with AI Immortals in Reign, how it was in beta, so everyone will have to start out as Shadows and race to become the strongest Shadow clan. At the end of each Cycle of Strife, there is the Cycle's End. This is normally triggered when the Shadows defeat the current Immortals and overthrow them. This is basically 1 week sort of cooldown period where the new Immortals can settle in and complete their quest line, their true Immortal, to unlock all of their stuff. And since the game is just launching, it's very likely we'll start with this period active, so to give everyone a fair chance to reach the necessary levels and part of the game where they can become a Shadow. So as of beta, this was level 43 and having completed a specific quest line. At that point, Shadow Lottery opens, in which you can freely enter, and if you randomly selected, you became a Shadow, which opens up the other option for you, which is basically the Shadow Invitation, which is done by an existing Shadow faction member entering the lottery again, obtaining an Akiba signet through it, and sending it out to a adventurer to invite him or her to the faction. It's important to do this, by the way, whenever you can, as it gives you rewards for each member you recruit, and since you already are a Shadow and want the faction to succeed, this is also gonna help a ton. I'm not going to go through what does being a Shadow means, as we've already covered that in the above video, along with what do you have access to and what do, what do you need to do on a daily basis and stuff like that. So check it out if you haven't already. So after the Cycle's End is over, we enter into the Shadow stages. There is either 3 or 4 of them, depending on how successful the Shadows are going to be in the Rite of Exile. So first is basically the planning. It's called the planning, where the recruitment starts, and it's basically all about that. If the Shadows faction reaches 200 members, the next stage, the gathering, triggers. At this point, the Shadows just need to get stronger and do their dailies, quests, challenges, stuff like that, to collect a set amount of their faction-specific currency, which is called the marks. Basically, every Shadow is contributing, and you can get further benefits and making this stage easier if you clan up by joining or creating a dark clan, which we are going to be talking about in just a second. All these dark clans are competing for the top 10 spots, who will represent the entire faction in the next stage called the Showdown. In the Showdown stage, the Shadows are able to challenge the Immortals in a battle called the Rite of Exile, which we're also going to be talking about in a second in detail, right after the Dark Clans. So in this Rite of Exile, if the Shadows win, the current cycle will come to an end, their Cycle's End will trigger once again, and the winning Dark Crown will become the new Immortals. Again, we'll go into detail how this will play out when I'm talking about the Rite of Exile. In case the Shadows lose, the Reckoning stage triggers, which opens up the Shadows to any adventurers without the need of an invite or entering the lottery or anything like that. In this stage, the Shadows just continue to collect marks, which in turn will provide more and higher combat power boosts, which will eventually allow them to overcome the current Immortals, no matter how strong these guys are. So basically, as I've said in the previous videos, no reign can last forever. And that's why this is called a Cycle of Strife, because it is basically a never-ending cycle. No Immortals can stay in power forever. Let's see more about these dark clans and their right of exile as well. So if you're already in a clan, you have the option to become a dark clan together, which is quite good because obviously you don't have to deal with all the applications and all that, and you can just get everything, you can just manage everything in one place. So being in a dark clan also comes with a lot of advantages, which helps you collect more marks, which is obviously the aim of the whole faction. So even if you don't plan to aim for the top 10 spots, you should still clan up with like-minded individuals who don't care about the competition part of this whole cycle of strife and all that, because it still will make the whole faction get ahead faster, and you will still benefit from all the other bonuses as well. So basically you still get more and more powerful by doing so, and if you would choose to stay an adventurer, you wouldn't have access to all those benefits. So also just to mention, there's been some mentions of some solo player aimed buffs as well in these latest news I've mentioned in the title, but the info is just so little that for now we just have to assume that the best way is still going to be to clan up, and it's likely to stay in this way as well, because obviously like if 50 people come together, those bonuses should still be better than if you are playing solo. But let me know, what do you think on this? Dark clans can choose a weekly focus, or rather the leader can choose a weekly focus, which is basically a challenge for all of its members to work towards, which rewards more marks if it's reached. So let's say that the leader chooses that we're gonna have to like hand in 160 contracts or something like that, and if we collectively do this, we get an extra chest with extra marks. This is extremely beneficial as well, because the marks, the total amount of marks a clan collects will also allow said clan to rank up, having a total of 16 ranks. So leaders can equip a total of 8 extra advantages upon certain amount of these ranks. So for example, I think the first one is at 2, then 4, 7, 9, 11, stuff like that. And these advantages are making, again, the whole clan stronger in different ways. For example, some of these advantages allows you to collect more marks per week, which will help ranking up the clan further, and also get the faction ahead faster as well. So obviously it's extremely beneficial because you are getting those extra benefits out of it. And just to mention, in the beginning, it's obviously worth to choose the ones that allow you to get more marks, because in that case you can get the further ranks, get to the further ranks faster, where you can get more advantages and all that. So it's just like it makes sense to get more marks, so you upgrade yourselves and the clan as well. So the top 10 dark clans will represent the faction in the Rite of Exile to fight it out with the current Immortals. And this is where these exciting new changes come in. It used to be that the 10 clans that contributed the most marks would be the top 10. Instead, these top 10 are now decided by the Shadow Wars, which is a new addition to the game and was just announced basically yesterday on the 23rd. This is simply making the whole system much more casual friendly, because obviously the previous system was favoring way too much those who could just grind away day and night. We don't really know much details about the Shadow Wars yet, like for example what kind of buffs are included, for example, as that would still allow significant advantage for the clans that grind more, but we know it's a tier-based system where you have to fight other shadow clans from the same tier in a 30v30 war to rank up and get ahead in tiers as well. And the 10 clans on the top of this tier system will be the ones who are going forward and is going to be able to represent the faction in the aforementioned Rite of Exile. So basically, That's it about the new system. I think it's super awesome that like they are thinking about casual players as well so much. Let me know what your thoughts are, because a lot of people were complaining that obviously like this whole Immortal and Shadows system is pretty much for the chosen 200 who can afford to no live the game and spend as much money as possible. But this one is basically opening it up to everyone who only grinds the game for 1 hour per day even, or something like that. So anyway, moving on to the Rite of Exile. So when enough marks are collected to trigger the next stage, the next Shadow stage, which is called the Showdown, the Rite of Exile will become available and will take place on a Sunday. And this is a multi-stage battle against the Immortals. So these top 10 Dark Clans will put forward 8 player teams of the probably blessed players against 10 Immortal teams of also 8. So this is an 80v80 battle in 10 little battles which are taking place simultaneously. This battle is pretty much the same as regular battleground battles, so make sure to test out and practice your strategies before the real deal, which is, again, I think it's awesome. Most games are just like having different game modes and different battles and all that for these different parts of the game, but here we have a normally accessible regular game mode, which is pretty much a carbon copy of this main event, so you have the time to practice. So if the Immortals win 5 of these 10 battles, the Shadows lose this stage and move on to the next Shadow stage, which is the Reckoning stage. However, if the Immortals lose more than 5, alas, if the Shadows win at least 6 of these 10 battles, they will move on to the challenge of the Immortal stage of the Rite of Exile. In this stage, the top 3 players of the top 10 Dark Clans will fight against the Immortal themselves, who will be turned into basically this massive raid boss kind of enemy. Look at those pictures, it looks ridiculous. And they get new skills that can basically one-shot the Shadows and all that. It's just awesome. Once again, if this 30v1 fight is lost by the Shadows, the Immortals just stay in Reign and the Shadows move on to the Reckoning stage as it was upon loss of the previous part. However, if the Shadows win, this battle becomes a battle royale with all of these 10 clans going against each other with in this like free-for-all. Just absolutely ridiculous. Like the whole battle just turns and like the teams are just fighting it out, and whichever Dark Clan comes out victorious, their leader becomes the new Immortal and the Dark Clan itself become the new Immortals. So that's pretty much it. Check out the walkthrough above on the Immortals as well, if you haven't already. Also to mention, they have also received a new game mode, which we don't know anything about really. We only know the name, which is the Corvus Expedition or something like that. We don't know what is it, we don't know what's gonna happen, but it might be connected with these new rumors that the Immortals would somehow be able to extend their reign a little bit longer than it was before. So they might even stay in reign for like 4 to 6 weeks or something like that, but nothing is confirmed yet, so don't lose hope. We're gonna have to wait for global release and see what's going on. And as per usual, like after the Shadows win and everything, and at that point in the cycle's end gets triggered once again, and we enter this 1 week cooling off period when the new Immortals can settle in and get ready for the arrival of the next generation of Shadows in the continuation of this never-ending cycle of strife. So that's basically it. If you wanna know exactly like how to get ahead much quicker and all that, as I've said before, check out the Shadows video, which goes into detail what Shadows have to do, what their dailies are, stuff like that, so you can get on top of this whole thing and you can make sure that you have a chance to become the first true Immortals of your server. Let me know what do you think about the video, guys, and let's go to the outro. Peace. Make sure to press all buttons down under the video to fulfill your clicking needs until the game is released, apart from the dislike button, of course. Each view without a like and subscribe will make a Nephilim cry, which we obviously don't want. See you guys soon. Peace.